Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. We're going to go ahead and do an update to my Pixels journey. Basically, starting from nothing and progressing forward, kind of adding some beginner tips throughout the process. You can see how I'm progressing, what I'm focusing on currently at this time of the recording. And then I can kind of give you some tips and direction that's coming up here in the near future for Pixels. Happy to do that. Go ahead in the comments down below. Let me know if you have any suggestions or questions. I'm not an expert, so I will be happily take any suggestions to try and improve. But also for those that are new to Pixels Chapter 2, and you're just starting out, I'm happy to give the tips that I've learned over the last couple months. So we're going to go ahead and talk about it where we left off last time, and I'll go ahead and pull it up on the screen. I was very much in tier 1 for just about everything. I think cooking and business were the only ones that I was not tier 1 for. But overall, it almost felt like I was starting from scratch. I made a lot of progress. It's actually been a few weeks since I recorded the last one. I was away on vacation for a little bit of that time. But if we go ahead and run through my little area that I got here, you'll notice already there's a lot of upgrades to it. The only thing that's not upgrades is the farm plots. I'm actually holding off on really pushing for the tier 2 on that. But everything else has the tier 2 that you kind of are starting to expect from Pixels. And this is as high as I can go on my spec. I cannot go higher than tier 2 on my specs. So once I get leveled up, I'm going to have to start figuring out another approach. I'm probably going to start looking for a guild so I can start using the lands there and start really getting the guild side of the house going. So if there's anyone that's watching that's part of a cool guild, the guild that you're happy with, go ahead in the comments down below or go ahead and DM me in this Discord. I'm happy to go ahead and talk through that. But I'm looking for a good guild. But let's go ahead and talk about how I've progressed so far. If I go ahead and pull up my skills, which you can see down here in the bottom right, you can actually see they're all tier 2. The only one that's not tier 2 is this guy right here, the exploration. I'm not focused on that. I'm really just focused on crafting. Just recently, I went through and I got both forestry and woodworking up to tier 2. And I have to say, forestry was a bit of a painful grind. I didn't really enjoy that because that took forever to go ahead and grind through that, just because the XP that you get is so small for every tree that you go ahead and cut down. But thankfully I was able to work through that. You can see I stopped right at level 20. Then I went ahead and replaced these with all tier 2. Right now what I am focused on is it's a combination of metalworking, stoneworking, and mining. I just got through the process where I did a whole lot of the stoneworking, and I'm moving back to the mining. So essentially my path or my cycle that I'm doing right now is I'm going through a ton of mining where I'm going ahead through here and mining as much as possible, getting the materials that I need to go ahead and take it down to the bottom. As you can see, I'm just about to that point. I'm just about to have this all filled up where I can go ahead and sell my copper ore. But I can go ahead and take my bronzonite ore and turn that into bars, and I can go ahead and take my matrices and turn it into powder, and then turn it into brick. Sell those where I can get, if I want to, I can get more wine, or I can just do the slow process where you go ahead and grind what you have as far as your energy goes throughout the day. But essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cycle through these 3 at least until I can get them to 40. If you look down here, I'm halfway there. From 20 to 40. I'm in 30 right now for mining, and I just have to go ahead in my metalworking and stoneworking. I'm trying to get those to 40, and then I'll go ahead and probably move over to either, I'll probably do farming and cooking. I did go pretty far with that initially. They're both on 27, so I'll probably go ahead and wrap those up to 40, and then I'll go back to woodworking, because woodworking, again, it was a grind. So that's my progress so far. It's going pretty well. The only other area I don't have all upgraded to tier 2 stuff is in here with my cooking stuff. So in here in my stoves, I have all tier 1s except for a bunch of tier 2s here. Once I get back to cooking, I'll probably upgrade these all to tier 2, just so I have those available for everything. A couple things that I'm kind of learning, or a couple, I guess, things I'm not super excited about. I feel like the latency has come back to Chapter 2. When Chapter 2 first rolled out, there's a lot of latency in between areas, the loading areas, and I actually chopped out a bunch of it when I moved between my spec and my house. But there's a lot of latency, and it went away. They went ahead, they did some restarts, they did some adjustments, and it all went away, and now it's starting to come back again. So I'm not sure what's going on, if it just needs to be some server reboots, but it's kind of a pain. The other thing that I'm griping right now with, and the reason why I'm so focused on just raising my skills, is this task board. I am lucky if I get, and as you can see, I do use this add-on, but I am lucky if I go ahead and get one pixel task every 3 or 4 days. And I'm tier 2, which I know is still low compared to a lot of people. But one every couple days is just painful. And I try and go through at least once a day. I go through most of these a few times, and I know you probably need to grind a whole lot more. But I do all the tasks at least 2, 3, maybe 4 times, and I still won't get any pixel tasks, and I kind of pause and I go back to grinding out levels. So that's my gripe right now as far as the task board goes. It kind of forces you to go ahead and focus elsewhere. I don't like it. It went from, in Chapter 1, you could all get a decent amount of pixels if you went ahead and did the tasks. Beginning of Chapter 2, you got an onslaught, like quite a bit, especially at the lower levels of pixel tasks. Higher levels did not get them. Then the lower levels are not getting anything. I think I got 1 pixel task for 1 pixel in the last 5 days. I know they're going through the process of readjusting that. So I'm hoping that gets updated here very soon, because it's kind of, it doesn't feel good as far as a player goes, where I'm doing all this grinding and I'm not able to get any rewards from it. So I'm just going to continue to go ahead and grind through the levels for a few more weeks, and probably by the next time I do a recording, I'll be up to the point where I can do some tier 3 stuff. Obviously won't have any tier 3 in my spec, but maybe I'll have a guild by that point, and we can go show you some of that stuff in some of the guild land. But in addition to that, the one thing I'm noticing between tier 1 and tier 2, especially for you newbies, you beginners that are still in tier 1, and you're going to a lot of your tier 1 stuff, and seeing, we'll just use something I use quite a bit, is the copper bars. Your energy spend compared to your XP that you get, it's kind of painful. It's tough. Tier 1 is tough now because it's expensive from an energy perspective, and you get minimum XP. Now when you get to tier 2, so this is for those of you that are in tier 1, the two things that one thing you have to worry about, and one thing that's really good, is you can no longer do the stacks of bars. So you're doing bars individually. The nice thing with that is you're spending a lot less energy at getting the same reward. So instead of the 120 energy I'm spending, I'm spending 25 energy for this 1 bar, but getting more XP than I was last time. And I know there's inflation as you're going through the levels, and the requirements to get to the next level increase. So some people might say something about that, but the fact that it's much more energy efficient with the tasks, I'm definitely appreciating. I feel like I'm going a little faster because I'm not spending as much on wine or waiting as many days in order to get able to get refills. So that's a good thing. That's the thing that I'm enjoying now that I'm on tier 2 for a lot of these. You're also getting a lot more results from the mining, not just more materials, but also larger quantities of the materials. So that's where I'm at right now. Again, I don't spend a lot of time over in the town. I don't spend a lot of time in other people's lands. This is really where I'm 100% of the time focused, is on my spec, which if you had told me that in Chapter 1, I would have told you you're nuts. But now I spend all my time on my spec, at least while I'm leveling up. I occasionally go to the shop and I get some materials or sell some materials. But then I just come back here and I grind. I grind. So that's where I'm at. Let me know down in the comments below, where are you at in pixels? Are you tier 2, tier 3? Are you just starting out and have any questions? You can go ahead and put those in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm trying to make a variety of content, trying to cover a lot more popular games that I want to get out there to more people and kind of provide my input on those. I'm hoping it's helpful. And then also, again, as I mentioned before, I'm happy to take suggestions. I'm happy to take tips. So if you have any tips, go ahead and put them down in the comments, or go ahead and DM me. If you don't want anyone to know that you're giving me the tips, that's fine. DM me and you let me know if you're okay with me expressing in a future video. I'm happy to give credit to where credit is deserved. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.